Hello, this is Maria Liuzzo and I will be teaching my students surface area. So, the objective in my lesson is the students will be able to learn to use different formulas to measure the surface area of simple three-dimensional shapes. So, the two shapes that I will be teaching them to measure are rectangular prism and this triangular prism. First, we are going to start with our visual learners because not all of us can look at this shape and measure the sides. I mean, sometimes it's just kind of confusing. So, when we see it laid out on a piece of paper for us, we can easily understand it. So, this really has to do with just remembering how to use the formulas. There's nothing really crazy about it. And our formula on finding the surface area of a rectangular prism is 2 times length times width plus height times length plus height times width. Right here. So we are going to use this formula to figure out our surface area. So as you see here, we have 1, 2, 3, our 4 sides for our rectangular prism, and our 2 little square sides. So they're going to have the same length and the same width. So as we figure out the measurements that we need, we have 5 centimeters for our, for our length, 3 centimeters here for our width, and we have 3 centimeters here for our height, because based on this, that is how tall our rectangular prism is. So we're just going to plug this into our simple little formula. 2 times length times width is going to be 5 times 3 plus our height times length, and that is going to be 3 times 5 plus our height times width, and that is going to be 3 and 3 because they are the same number. So if you need to get out your calculators, that's fine, but I think a lot of this simple math we can do in our head, because 5 times 3 is 15, 5 times 3 is 15, and 3 times 3 is 9. So we have that right there at the bottom for us. We add all these together. 15 times 15 is 30, plus 9 equals 39. There we go, but we still have one more thing to do, and that's multiply our answer by 2. So 39 times 2 is 78. And since we measured our rectangular prism in centimeters, our answer is going to be 78 centimeters squared, because this is surface area. And these objects are not flat, so we had to use all of these different measurements and numbers to figure it out, because if we were to cut this out and fold it up, it would look something like this. Okay, so now for our visual learners, the next shape we are going to learn to measure is our triangular prism. Here I have laid out the net for us, but this time we are going to find the measurements. So just take a moment to find your measurements while I do the same thing. But remember, with triangles, does anybody else know the formula to find the area of a triangle? It's half base times height. So there's no length times width. We're going to find the base measurement and the height measurement. So make sure you guys go to the center of your base so you know where to start to find your accurate height. Okay, here we go. We have our height as 5 centimeters and our base as 4 centimeters. So we have half base times height, which means our half base is 4 cut in half, which is 2. So our formula is going to be 1/2 times 4 times 4. Everybody see that? So 1/2 times 4 is 2 times 4 equals 8. But we're not done. Notice how we have 4 triangles of the same size, because if they weren't the same size, they could not fold up to make our triangular prism. So we do 8 times 4, 32. But I think we still have one more shape to measure. See that little square in there? If we didn't have this, our pyramid would just kind of go fall right on the ground. So what we're going to do is we found our measurement, which is 4 by 4 because it is a square, and 4 times 4 is 16. So the area of all 4 triangles combined is 32 centimeters squared, and our area of our square is 16 centimeters squared. So we have to add them. 32 plus 16 is 48 centimeters squared. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the surface area of our triangular prism. So now what we're going to do is move on for our kinesthetic learners, because some of us do work better when we're able to hold it in our hands and use it and manipulate it. So we need to get out our rulers and go to the centimeter side, and we are going to measure what we have here. So just take a moment, take your time. And remember, the ones that are exactly opposite from each other are going to be of the same size. So you don't have to do the top and the bottom, just the top. And then you do the next one, but you don't have to do the bottom one to that because it's all going to be the same size. Okay, so we have our measurements. Our measurement of one of our rectangles, is 5 centimeters by 3.5 centimeters. See that? And then we go to our next one is 5 centimeters by 3 times 2 centimeters. 3.2 centimeters, excuse me. And then our final one, the little square or little rectangle we have right here, it's not quite a square, is going to be the 3.2 by the 3.5. Now, from here, we will have 3 different numbers: 5, 3.5, and 3.2. Our length, our width, and our height. So let's get that formula back out. 2 times length and width, which is going to be 5 times 3.5 plus our height.